Hey everyone, it's James O'Reilly with episode number 15 of Dream Better English, and today I want to help you guys with your listening, vocabulary, grammar, expressions, and we're going to talk about the topic of adoption. Now, adoption is where a child is placed into a new home, not the home of its biological parents or real parents, but into a new home with new parents. And legally, in the eyes of the law, that child will be the child of the new parents. Now, how is adoption viewed in your country? Well, I am from Ireland, and let's say in the British Isles, the UK and Ireland, and now I live in Spain. I believe adoption is seen as something quite positive. Perhaps in the past, it was something people could tease you about, and to tease is to make fun of you in the playground, in school, in your neighborhood. Ha ha ha, you're adopted, nobody wanted you. It was quite cruel when I was younger. Children were cruel to people who were adopted. But I think nowadays it's openly talked about, it's seen as a positive, and I think people's attitudes have changed. So while it was negative in the past, I believe it's positive now. But that's probably because when I was young, I was a child. And that's what you did when you're a child. And when you're older, you're more open-minded. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, do I know anyone who was adopted personally? I don't. I do know when I was in school that one of my teachers had adopted either one child or a couple of children from Romania. At the time in the 90s in Romania, there was the fallout or the after the communist regime of Ceausescu, there were a lot of children who were because I think abortion was illegal in the country, so there were a lot of unwanted children. Contraception was not available. Contraception is like condoms, which stop you having pregnancy. So there were a lot of unwanted children, and they were placed into orphanages, which are places where children go when they have no parents or they are not wanted, unfortunately. So the name of this is an orphanage. So when I was younger, as I said, a teacher adopted a couple or one child from Romania. I do know some famous people off the top of my head, which means just thinking straight away. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, the actors, not actress, actor, that's changed now. Women are called actors. They have adopted children from different countries, various different countries. And the singer Madonna has adopted some children from Mali, a country in Africa. The reasons people adopt obviously are various. It could be that they are unable, a couple may be unable to have children for health reasons. Or it could be they decided too late to have children. Or it could be a decision like this, and now they're unable to have children. It could be that they don't want to have children and they want to help a child. There's many different reasons why people want to adopt, and those are a couple. And the reasons people give up children for adoption. When you give your child for adoption, you give up your child for adoption. Again, a couple of reasons. Let's think. It could be that the woman was too young. She could have had an unwanted pregnancy. And on the darker side, there could have been a rape. And a rape is a criminal offense where a man forces himself onto a woman, and as a result, she can become pregnant. Now, it's quite understandable that the woman may not want to keep the child in these circumstances. I'm sure there's reasons for every circumstance why a woman may not want to keep a child. So there are some of the reasons why people may want to give a child up for adoption. The adoption system where I live here in Spain, and as far as I know in the UK and Ireland, is quite strict. And I'm not exactly sure how strict, but I think that people who do adopt need to have quite a comfortable living. Now, when we say comfortable in English, it means earning quite a nice amount of money. So good jobs, good house, stable environment. Technically, when you are getting adopted in Spain or in Ireland, as far as I know, and I'm not sure about this, that child will be going to a middle class or upper class home. Is that fair? Should poorer families be allowed to adopt, or perhaps families with one parent, or families that are not married, gay couples, gay and lesbian couples, transgender, bisexual? Should these people be allowed to adopt? Perhaps they can adopt now. I think in many countries, gay people can indeed adopt. Whereas in other countries, they will be unable to adopt. I think the most important thing here is that the child is going to, let's say, a stable environment and a loving environment. That's the most important, from my point of view anyway. Now, people will have different opinions because of culture or religion can come into it, and you may believe, no, the child should go to this type of family. That's an interesting question. Should a child from a different background, such as religious background, be brought up in a different religion? So let's say a child from a Christian background is adopted by a Muslim family and then raised as a Muslim. That could be one of the things that they would look at. And also, how do you guys feel about children from Africa being raised by white people? Or should African children be adopted by Africans and European children be adopted by Europeans, white children by whites, Asians by Asians? How do you guys feel about that? Personally, I am more on the side where it's close to home as possible, to a good family, as close to home as possible, so that you maintain the similar culture. But of course, there's obviously children who grow up and who look different, and everything's fantastic. No problems at all. What about the qualities of a person who is going to adopt? I think the person just needs to be a stable person, to be honest. Will they have time? Will they have time to take care of the child? Will they have other children in the house? Those are things that we should take into consideration. As I said, I think these things are very strict, so they will be looked at very carefully. And should people, this is something we looked at earlier, should people be able to decide who they adopt? Should I be able to walk into the office and say, I want this type of child? That's interesting, because nowadays, and this could be true for some people. For example, before social media, people had pets. As far as I'm concerned, people had pets, dogs and cats. And once social media became popular, the explosion of cats has just been incredible. And now I think it's turning towards dogs. Well, it's just been incredible. But dark cats were not favorite because they didn't, black cats, for example, didn't come out in the photos very well. So people would have lighter colored cats. Now, in my opinion, there are people who are going to be adopting, and they're going to want a certain profile of child. For me, as an Irish person, an Irish child, well, I might be thinking, well, it's kind of a bit boring, I'd like a child that looks a bit more exotic and a bit kind of different, It could be kind of cool, could be nice. I know that sounds shallow, and shallow is when water is low, and we say somebody is shallow when they they are superficial or they don't think deeply. But there are shallow people out there, believe me. And you know that too. So are there people who are considering adopting an exotic looking child so that they can be popular? Or they haven't thought about it very much? Well, it's an interesting question. Anyway, that's our topic for today. Thanks very much for listening to me. I'll be back very soon with another topic. I hope today's topic was interesting for you, and I shall talk to you guys very soon. All the best. Bye bye.